you can
coming
show
on
us.
in a
Yeah,
second.
so we'll get started. So great, welcome. My name is Kingshuk Ganguly, and I am part of a firm called Lightbulb Moments Consulting. And today we are here for a fireside chat, between Abigail and Preethi Srinivasan. I'll share, Preethi's, little bit of a bio. The little bit of a bio goes into 4 pages, so just bear with me. She is the founder of Soulfree, an institution supporting over 3,000 families of people who have been paralyzed due to spinal cord injury, supplying them with wheelchairs, hospital beds, medical aid, and financial support. Preethi didn't stop at this. She felt strongly the earthly good that Soulfree provided was important for dignified survival, but wasn't enough. The people she helped needed something more, an awareness and a drive and re-engineering of body, soul to live a purposeful life in their new bodies. So re-engineering is something which is very close to Preethi's heart, and she'll talk about that today. So Preethi set up the Soulfree Inspire Center, the world's first integrated spinal injury rehab center that trains paraplegics to achieve physical, psychological, and financial independence within a few months. And what Preethi did before this part of her life, she'll share in her own words. It's nothing short of stunning. Uh, our moderator for the evening, if I can say that, is Avigail Gutman. Uh, she'll speak to Preethi about the changes she underwent and the changes that she has created in Indian society. Abigail, together with Lightbulb Moments team, works to analyze and understand the concept of change in people's lives and livelihood. She comes from a varied background with an education in the humanities and a 30-year career in technology. And having been through many changes herself, including having lived in over 13 major cities. I'll repeat that in case you missed it. It's 1313. Nurit, good to have you. Around the world, relocating to these with her family and her high-tech job. Today, she will talk with Preethi about major life transformations that Preethi has made for herself and enabled others to go through. Now, before I pass it to Abigail, a little bit about Lightbulb Moments and why we are doing this webinar. Lightbulb Moments has been around for about 15 years, and we have worked with leadership development and executive coaching, and we are working on change management in a very big way currently. We have served almost 10% of Fortune 100 companies across the globe, across 18 countries. And change management is something which is very important for us. And in Preethi's narrative and in Abigail's narrative, you will see how they have lived through change. So they are no professors. In fact, Preethi just finished her, PhD from IIT, just a week back. So she'll talk about that. So she's a professor in a way. But they'll talk about the lived experience. So without further ado, I pass it to Preethi and Abigail. Please take it away. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Nice to see so many friends from different parts of the world also. So, when I started this project together with Lightbulb Moments, in my mind, because Lightbulb Moments was a consultancy for me, for leadership and coaching, it always seemed like a very work-oriented, workplace-oriented kind of change management that I should be thinking of until I met Preethi and I understood the bigger concept of it. For me, coming from technology, I always thought it was change had to do with the corporate world, with layoffs, with changing products. But really, the big changes that we go through is life changes, as Kingshuk said. And so with that, I really want to start, Preethi, before we talk about your life work in setting up Soulfree and all of its offshoots, if you can start by telling us a little bit about what instigated Soulfree in your own life, what happened to you, and then what was the trigger that created the urgency to build Soulfree, and then we'll get into what Soulfree is and does. Yeah.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to be amongst so many people from all over the world. So I'm really grateful and happy to be here. Um, so I guess everything starts from our own personal story, and I have lived a dream and I have lived a nightmare. So I've come full circle many times over. I'm an only child. I was born nearly 9 long years after my parents got married. So after many, many prayers, and in India, if you don't have a child, it's a big issue. So, they really wanted me and they gave me a lot of love. I'm an only child. From both sides of my family, I received a lot of love and care. I started swimming at the age of 3. I became a national level swimmer. I was a state level gold medalist. I started playing cricket at the age of 4. I became the captain of the Tamil Nadu under 19 girls team, and I joined the senior Tamil Nadu squad at the age of 8. That's a record that 30 odd years on is still intact. So, um, life was really it was remarkable. But for me, everything seemed to be effortlessly going on because I seemed to excel at things without really working hard, which Abigail will not agree with me. But seemingly everything was perfect. I went to 9 different schools in 3 different continents. The 12 years of school, I was always the new girl in school, and that pretty much was horrible at the time. But now I realize that it gave me the kind of roots. It was a truly global education. So um, I value that now. But pretty much change was a part of my life. And I would say that intrinsically, the triggers, when we say a couple of triggers I want to say here is that one was, since a very young age, my mother would ask me to do a kind of small puja or a small prayer just before I go to school. Just before you start the day, you do something positive, was her thing. And I would make 100 excuses to say, no, no, I can't do this, I can't do that, I don't remember any of the shlokas which they say. And she'd say, I don't care, you go and stand there. And I'll tell her I'm late to school. Then she'll say, stand out at the gate, I don't care, but this is something you have to do. So showing up and being accounted for was something I learned very early on. And the only dream, the only prayer that I ever had was to become a blank slate, the tabula rasa, as they say. And in the Indian spiritual setup, there is a system of reincarnation. So the only prayer I ever had was for this to be my last lifetime. And but as life goes on, you go to school, you go to college, you want to start achieving, you want to do well in this, that, and the other thing, and you keep writing on your slate. So if you do that, there is no chance of really being a blank slate. So at some point, the main trigger, of course, as all of you can see, is that I had a split second accident during a college excursion. I fell into water and I never got up. I broke my neck in a C4, C5 level spinal cord injury. And immediately, in a span of a split second, from being almost Olympic level fit, I became a quadriplegic. I don't have hand function, finger function. Even if my favorite pizza is kept in front of me, I can't take it and eat. So everything that is taken for granted on a day-to-day basis, just the feeling of warm water over us when we have bath, all those things are something I cannot, are totally impossible for me. So from this stage to growing to a stage where overnight my parents were everything for me, and then overnight my father had a heart attack and he passed away. 4 days after that, my mother had a heart attack. I had an 80-year-old grandmother to take care of. No idea of how to run the family at all, no income. So from that state of utter vulnerability, I had to take over. I had to become the decision maker of the household. And from that point, I learned that despite all these seemingly horrifying circumstances, that I was the best case scenario in India. Because while for 3 months, I went to the big city of Chennai for my mother's bypass surgery, where we needed lakhs, and I had to do a lot of understanding and grow in a very short span of time. After I returned to our hometown of Tiruvannamalai, I came to know that within those 3 months span of time, two paraplegic girls, that is, they are paralyzed below the waist, but they could do all the work at home. They could, cook and clean and do all the things they were required to do. And yet they were told that you're a shame and a burden on the family and that you don't deserve to live. Poison was left next to them and they drank it and passed away. So that was a huge shock to my system, because when my mother was going through a life-threatening surgery, my parents' friends came to us and had told us that what is going to happen to you if there comes a time when your family is not there to care for you. And at that point, it was a very shocking thing to me. And I did a lot of research and I found that although India is 1/6 of the world's population, there is not a single long-term care center where a person like me can go and live with dignity. So even if I can pay, so what about the hundreds of thousands who cannot pay? Many of them are abandoned onto the streets, and the others are actually encouraged to commit suicide, as I later found out. So this was the tremendous shock to my system. And I had told my mother, I can't do anything. My mother actually told me, you do something, you be the change. I have faith in you. And I said, Ma, are you bonkers? I can't even eat the food on my plate. I can't even manage to find housekeeping staff for our house. What am I going to do supporting thousands of people? How am I going to run an organization? I don't know anything about the law. I don't know anything about accounts. The moment I see numbers, my brain shuts down. What am I going to do running an organization? I'm not equipped. I was afraid. Fear is perhaps the thing that stops us from doing most of the things in life. So at that point, I didn't, I said no. But when within 3 months span of time, two girls died, then I said, what's the worst they can do to me, right? They can put me in jail. Even then, they have to assign a couple of police people to take care of me. So it should not be a problem. And on that note, we started Soulfree, and the organization over the last decade has been saving thousands of lives. So I'm really grateful for the way we have progressed.
So I want to stop you here for a second and first of all, I will comment on what you said earlier, where you said it seemed everything was effortless, right? It was so easy to succeed. And now now you have the benefit of understanding relativity. But obviously nothing is effortless, right? And I said to Preethi yesterday that if her venture was effortless, then there would be so many like it and there wouldn't be a need for it. So clearly it wasn't effortless. So that's one thing. I want you to, if you can, for this audience who are interested also in change and in how the practical aspects of change. So if you can talk, I understand that the root of Soulfree, or the urgency, was triggered by your seeing these two girls who were actually forced into suicide by their families who couldn't care for them. And so you understood that there needs to be a place for people who are paraplegic, quadriplegic. How did you set it up? What practical steps did you take? How did you decide where to set it up? Who would come? How do you communicate this outwards? Who's the demographic that comes to Soulfree, and what does Soulfree actually provide?
Yeah, Soulfree started with one goal: the fact that nobody should be forced to commit suicide because of a physical condition we have no control over. Spinal cord injury can happen to anyone at any time, and in India, there is no support system of any kind. There is no medical insurance for rehabilitation. Um, Actually, spinal cord injury has not even been accepted as a specific multiple disability thus far. So it is still pooled under locomotor disabilities, and there is no support system, as I was saying. So the feeling that thousands of people are just being abandoned, we started, as I said, with nothing. My mother and I, no staff, no knowledge of anything. The first thing we had to do was register it as a public charitable trust. Then we started doing outreach programs where we would send catheters, other medical essentials to people we knew who were reaching out to us. So slowly it got built. Then we gave wheelchairs, hospital beds, air beds, tried to prevent them from having, bed sores, trying to somehow keep them alive. Then we started providing financial assistance for them to go and get an education, to go out and start working, somehow to enable them to become optimally self-reliant from a physiological, psychological, and socio-economic perspective. So this was the goal. And we did it however we could, but we had no infrastructure at the time. But then we found that over a decade of supporting people, if they did not learn, if they did not receive training in how to live and work in the new body, they regressed. They went back to bed. Many of them even died. So uh, that's when we recognized the need for a comprehensive integrated spinal rehabilitation center. Then we started trying, and we found the government leased us an old building, which we renovated. I had only 1 crore with me at the time, but then we ended up spending 3 crores towards renovating it in 2021, it was inaugurated by the Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu. And now, 3 years on, we have supported more than 300 people. We call them our butterflies, people who came in as caterpillars and have undergone a chrysalis period and have metamorphosed into beautiful, colorful butterflies who can go out there and lead lives of dignity and purpose and be able to earn again. So this is we are calling it the India's first integrated spinal rehabilitation center, Inspire. So the Soulfree Inspire Center is set in a town called Tiruvannamalai in a 20,000 square feet facility. And at least I think it's state of the art, and the things we are offering, and it's a very unique framework. I feel it's an experiential framework. So the therapies we offer are totally different and have a different thrust than most rehabilitation centers, including the ones in the West. So I do feel we are special, and the results have been amazingly good. Sorry, I'm not able to hear you now.
I was muted, sorry. Yeah, this Inspire Center came out of your realization that it wasn't enough to have just your physical needs attended to. And I know that you offer there for quadriplegic people amazing things like from yoga to swimming to all kinds of physical, but not just physical, praying, right? And retreating. And I know that you're pushing forward for additional kind of offshoots. We talked about soul care, about the Shambhala village, and maybe you can talk a little bit about those, and then also about Soul Voice, which is actually taking people back into the workforce, right? Yeah.
Yes. So we have India's first fully temperature controlled automated hydrotherapy center there. We have everything is set up in such a way that once they go back home, even from washing your own clothes, we've made innovations in such a way that wheelchair users can cost effectively do their things once they go back home. So we have what I would call the world's first wheelchair accessible terrace garden. We have a lot of therapies aimed towards restoring their sense of self-worth and restoring the will to live. That is my main thrust, because I found that after my rehab, I was 18 at the time and I had been Olympic level fit, and this place was supposed to be one of the best in the world for spinal cord injury rehab, but they never gave me a reason to live. I was 18, my body suddenly didn't cooperate with me, and I didn't want to live. I felt horrible. What are called we call our outreach programs, where we give medical essentials, we give educational support, we give financial aid for those needing medical help. Then we help them with even sometimes seed funding to start their own businesses. So whatever we could do to make them self-reliant, we were doing that. But we recognized that that wasn't always possible without the retraining. So that's why we started the Soulfree Inspire Center. And at the Inspire Center, again, in India, many quadriplegics don't survive. The lower level injuries, we are able to get them back with calipers, get them earning and all that. But the higher level injuries like me, who have hand and finger impairment, it's really difficult to keep them alive. So that is where I have thought of the Soul Voice Learning Institute. Soul Voice main goal is to help them become financially self-sustaining, and we mainly aim to have voice-based jobs, especially for the quadriplegics who have impaired hand function. So we want to connect with various companies and IT companies to become call center operators. Like, phone companies have all these customer care stuff. So call center operators, BPOs, those kind of things, the selling and buying of air tickets, insurance, those kind of things. Anything that can be done online through voice. We want to give them training in that, and at the end of it, they will go home and they will have a home office, and immediately they will become financially able to have a sustainable income. So that is the whole goal of Soul Voice. Soul Care is about taking people from other marginalized segments of society, like the children of prisoners, young people from rural areas who have been forced to drop out of education, LGBT community people, people from acid attack survivors who've been sold into the body trade, those kind of people who are not getting dignified work. Take them, help them, kind of counsel them, get them to let go of some of their baggage, and then tell them that you can make a difference in our lives. And then give them the training they require to become personal care assistants for us, to become physically able to take care of us. And then we would subsidize their salaries for those who cannot pay. And of course, there is a huge requirement in India, because I mean, there are a lot of people getting strokes. I heard somewhere that dementia is growing by 350% in India. Everyone I know has somebody in their family who's immobile for some reason. So I feel there is a huge need, and in India there is no government-based support network like that provides paid caregivers. So I feel this is a very important. This is completely, at this point, there is nothing available. Everything is commercial and it's very cutthroat. The people who come are extremely expensive and at the same time completely ill-trained, sometimes uncouth and abusive also. So Soul Care aims to fill this gap, which I feel is a huge void in the Indian market at least. And finally, the goal was that nobody should be forced to commit suicide. So when their family is not able to support them, they should be able to come and live and die with dignity. So that's where the Soul-Free Shambhala village happens. We aim to set up a self-sustaining, inclusive village where we'll run businesses that will employ wheelchair users, and then people of various kinds who have given up on the rat race can come and join hands. And I believe in the concept of kintsugi, right? When a vase breaks, they would put it together with molten gold, and then it becomes a piece of art. So I believe that we may all be broken parts, but uh, as a sum of a whole, we become something much more altogether. So I do believe that we can become pieces of art and invaluable like that. So that is the Shambhala village. That is our ultimate dream.
Preeti, I want to refer to a term that I've heard you use it in your talks, and you've used it also when we've spoken. You say that when somebody becomes quadriplegic, when somebody undergoes an accident like this, they have to re-engineer. You use the term re-engineer, and I remember I told you, coming from technology, that re-engineer to me, reverse engineer, means taking things apart, breaking them, or taking them apart. And for you, it was actually putting things together, I think, or that was what I understood, and that's actually what you've done. Can you talk a little bit about re-engineering, the process of re-engineering?
Yes. So I do believe that sometimes to put things together, we need to break things apart as well. Whenever I think of a person with spinal cord injury, I often say it's like Humpty and Dumpty had a fall, and then we have to put them back together piece by piece. But the thing is, when an injury like this happens, we are shattered in a million ways. Our own sense of self-worth is destroyed. And in countries like India, what the narrative that is told to us is, that's it. Your life is over. You don't have any self-worth anymore. You're useless. You're a burden. And sometimes the entire family is ostracized because such a person exists. It's like sometimes they say it's bad karma, so you're being punished by God, and that you're a cursed family. So many of them internalize it, and both society has to rethink and reimagine the way they treat people with disability, and so do we. So in that sense, re-engineering means, first of all, if I'm not in a position to love myself, nobody is going to. So do I want to live? So by re-engineering, I basically mean that the ultimate fundamental goal of the entire rehab at our center is restoring the will to live. At 18, I didn't want to live. So the best equipment in the world, the best physiotherapists in the world couldn't do a damn thing. Sorry for that word, but it didn't have much of an impact because the will to live was gone. Sorry, somebody has raised their hand. Karishma.
Yes, Karishma, raise your hand.
I'm
Yes.
really very sorry if I interrupted you in between, but basically, I just wanted to get into the re-engineering part of it. So probably we'll cover it at the end of the session. So basically, I wanted to get the answer, but I don't wanted to interrupt you.
Sure. So
Yeah.
basically, my thought by speaking about re-engineering is by restoring the will to live. And once that is there, then we can give them the skills and training to become fully self-reliant from a physiological, psychological, and socio-economic perspective. The world is going to stigmatize. The world is going to throw shit at you, and you have to be ready, strong enough within yourself to say, I am in acceptance of who I am, and whatever you say, I'm still going to do my best. And I'm still going to make you change your words by living the way I live. That is to me re-engineering, and that is the strength I want to give them. Because I can teach them how to walk with calipers or whatever, but if inside they don't love themselves, if inside they are not strong, then it won't last very long. It won't be sustainable, whatever success they get. That is, we give them 4 qualities to say that even if you don't learn one exercise, even if you don't get any physical rehabilitation, if you carry 4 qualities with you when you leave here, the 4 being integrity, hard work, self confidence, and perseverance. If you have these 4 qualities, if you learn those and leave from here, I can guarantee that you will have a good life. So that is what we tell them. For me, that is re-engineering. Manipulating them to think differently, I guess.
So how has what you've done so far with Soulfree, and I know you're working really hard with all of the soul ventures, how have you have you seen change happening in society, in where Soulfree is situated geographically in the country, in terms of government institutions, in terms of help? Are you feeling that there's a social, in terms of awareness, are you feeling that there is a change since you've started this? Are you feeling that there's a social change in India or elsewhere?
Definitely change is happening. Will it happen at the speed we would like? That's the question mark. In a country like India, where the numbers are huge and when the resources are limited, it is going to be. Sometimes I think that human life and human dignity, those kind of things are the cheapest things in India. Even if you throw a plastic paper somewhere, somebody is there to go and pick it up and reuse it or do something with it. But if you're lying on the street after an accident, people want to ignore you. So in India, if you are not there, there are hundreds of you. So it doesn't matter, kind of thing. But we are definitely seeing a change. For example, I am there in the Disability Advisory Board, which was the first ever such advisory board for disability in the government of Tamil Nadu. So there is change. But yet, only 6% of girls with disability get to even go to school. I was denied education. I was told there are no lifts, no ramps, don't join. I mean, when I graduated from school, I joined, I was at the top 2% of the American student population. Um, I could have literally gone anywhere, even to the Ivy League institutions, but I chose to come back into India. And after my accident, I was denied admission into, a distance learning program. So initially, it was very much a struggle, but once I started fighting, I did do my bachelor's and master's, and now I've become the first woman with a 90% disability to ever gain admission and ever complete the PhD from IIT Madras, which is India's top educational institution. So yes, change is happening, and we need to fight for it. And if more people come along and ask for their rights, demand their rights, I think it will happen sooner rather than later.
And it's happening, you feel that it's happening at an institutional level as well? I mean, you see more accessibility? Do you see more programs popping up? Are you getting competition, so to speak?
In India, intent is the biggest thing. In India, if the people at the top decide, India is not a bottom up country at all. You can't fight anything from the grassroots level. If the decision makers and policy change happens, then everything will happen on its own very fast. So
Okay.
that's the kind of country it is. And as you know, it's difficult to reach the top people, but somehow I've been blessed, and my voice is being heard. And there are others like me, of course, across the nation fighting for various. There are activists who are really doing it forever. But I don't believe in kind of fighting the system. I believe in going along with the system and working from within to change policy. I believe that if you fight with them, that will only create resistance in the long term. But if you
I
can,
see.
through your own achievements, through your own ability, to your own hard work, if you show them you are worthy, then there is a bigger chance of them actually doing it from the heart. And if they don't do it from the heart, again, it won't be sustainable.
Preethi, before we move to a summary and Q&A, I want to ask, what can the people on this call and their contacts do to help this, I want to say adventure, because it's still in the adventure, it's a venture, but it's still in the adventure stage where the way you describe it, that, you don't have everybody on board yet. What kind of needs do you have? Do you need money? Do you need publicity? Do you need volunteers? How can the people here help who are coming from a variety of professions? I see Nourit is, for example, a DEI specialist. We had Mark on the call earlier. He builds in France villages for the elderly that are similar to your Shambhala concept. I mean, so we have different kinds of people on the call. We have technologists on the call. How do we help?
Oh, let me be completely shameless here. I need all the help I can get, right? Soulfree has so many projects we need to do, and we need experts in every area. For example, if we want to do the soul voice, we need to set up a syllabus, we need teachers. But the thing is here, language is a barrier, and we need people who can speak at least initially, where we are, we need people who can speak the local language, who can be around physically, because I do get a lot of people who are willing to support online, but there is a huge void, because even as a leader, I'm not able to go to the center every day. I'm not able to be there 24/7 all the time. So we need good leadership. We need good leadership on the ground level. And definitely we need a good advisory system, more support on all levels. So yes, as volunteers, I have this huge dream of Doctors Without Borders and physiotherapists without borders. They can all come and spend months here at our center training our trainers. I have a lot of hopes that we will become a true center for excellence and research in the area of the holistic management of life after spinal cord injury. So these are it's a tall order. These are big words, but I do believe we can do a lot of things. We need certain things to fall into place, and leadership, decision making, people who are there for the welfare, it's not a job for them, but they want to do this because they have a passion for it. Those kind of people we need. And like you said, especially NGOs, every charitable institution and every company, I guess, needs two things the most: people and paisa. I'm saying paisa because it rhymes with p, but basically money to get the infrastructure ready. And once the infrastructure ready, we need good people who work from the heart and who are committed, who it's a tribe, right? We need a Soulfree, I don't believe is an NGO. I believe it's a way of life. I believe it's a thought. And if you can see, if you can say two things, that I have enough, that I am enough, if we know these two things within ourselves, then we will always fight for those who are vulnerable. And if we get more people to fight for the vulnerable, I think the world will be a different place, a much more peaceful and lovely place.
Look, I think you've made amazing strides and achievements, and I think the important thing really is to make sure this keeps going forever, that to create this inertia that will keep it running. I'm really hoping that the people on this call can think about this after this
One
webinar. And
request would be become an ambassador of Soulfree. If you like what we are doing, spread the word, tell people to look up our webpage, to go and see our success stories, our YouTube videos, to just spread awareness. If you can tell 5 people about Soulfree, that would be a great place to start, right? I mean, these are actionables that are easy to do. So just, if you love Soulfree, then tell more people about us.
she's being very modest. Preethi's being very modest. I think we should do more. I think everybody can do more. I mean, we all just have to think about it a little bit, whether it's going to companies that can help. We talked about this, and I see that there's 2 ex-colleagues of mine here who were also at Cisco with me at the time, and I'm sure we can think of things that can help sustain this change, because one of the things that's important in change is that it is maintained over time. So, okay, I think, thank you, Preethi, for all of this. We didn't talk about happiness. We didn't talk about, there's so many things that we need to still talk about, but I want to leave some time for Kingshuk to wrap up and for Q&A, for any questions or suggestions that the audience might have.
Sure.
Kingshuk, over to you.
Abigail. Thank you, Abigail. Thank you, Preethi. I think we have something from Ashirwad Kumar, on the chat. Ashirwad, you want to take the mic?
Just a second, I was actually moving from a room to different room. There was an audience in the different room, and I think I'm still figuring out a room. You can pass the mic to somebody else, then I'll speak up.
Nurit, something from you?
Besides being awed and inspired and moved by your story, Preethi, it's amazing, and yeah, I just don't have words yet. It's just really, really inspiring to hear how you look at life and what you've done with it. And I totally agree that I'm enough, and I have enough is ingrained, and that people have to come to it from the heart. Otherwise, you can't really do anything without the heart. I mean, you can function, but the actual doing and being together is so meaningful. As a mother of a child with a disability that is experiencing life in different ways, not the same as you, it's really kind of, he's young, he's only 15, so I'm looking at you and I'm saying, you know, there's so much to work with and improve, but just awed and inspired. So thank you for sharing your story. It's amazing. It gives a lot of proportion to a lot of us about our situations in life and what we should be thankful for. So thank you. Thank you for having me here today.
Thank you, Nurit. Pleasure. Ashirwad, you want to take the mic?
Yes. First of all, thank you for accommodating that shift. I was actually in another campus. I'm in a campus of IVB itself. So love to hear this. I actually joined this call late, but very it as mentioned by the previous speaker, that it actually takes a hurt to do these kind of thing, and can really see this coming out, and all amazing. Like it was properly amazed to hear everything in the call, and love to see that this kind of organization is also there.
Sure, sure. Thank you. Thank you, Ashirwad. Great. Anyone else in the audience? Chanda, are you able to speak?
Yeah,
Hi,
hi,
Karishma.
yeah, I'm able to speak. Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much for this lovely session. Really inspiring. And thank you for inviting me to attend.
Great. Thank you. Thank you, Chanda. Yeah, Karishma, please go ahead.
Yeah, thanks, Kingshuk. So first of all, Preeti, I wanted to understand because I know you have been coming from altogether different mindset because change management definitely, I think, means you because when you are like first 18 years of your life on the top of the world and suddenly you are at the bottom of, not bottom, but as you said that was free. No, that was not effortless. That was definitely your efforts that took you to the Olympics and everywhere. But yeah, definitely you came to that another zone. You re-engineered yourself. So first of all, I just have three pointers. The first pointer would definitely be when we call the re-engineering or the change management, or like you mentioned, dementia. Like in the current world, when we see AI and a lot of people losing jobs and everything, so definitely we need re-engineering and change management more than ever in the world now. And the leaders and the experts like you might not be getting the complete the complete thing now, but later on you'll definitely have a lots to do because this is the demand of the era, because this is like the booming industry. Now you'll be the leaders for the change management because everybody at the end of the day is wanting some change. So you being the leader of it, you re-engineer them from every aspect of it, from 360-degree point of view, from talking about from financial to economic, and then from like getting into the mental side of it. So I just have two queries from you. First, when you said government, yeah, you are working with the government. So I'm not really very much sure, but can we have something like for the like disability people working in the government sector or some quota for that and being taken very seriously from the top? Like, yeah, you're very right. It's top to bottom approach. Then like getting along with them and then working on that part, because definitely we want them to be covered, because if we talk about the caste systems, they are getting covered, but this like disabilities, they also carry a lot of chunk of people. So you must be definitely working with it, but what's your output on it? Like what can we as a civilians do in order for you to get that kind of quota from the government?
Right. Thank you so much for that question, Karishma. Yes, the government has a lot to do, and the intent is changing now, but there is a long way to go. On paper, many things are already there. On paper, there is a basic right to education, there is basic right to access. But the thing is, implementation is an issue, right? So, you as an individual, I want to ask, do you know if your child's school is accessible? Can a person like me go to study in your daughter or son's school? We as individuals don't know because we never even thought about it, right? So that is the issue. What your favorite movie theater? Think about it. Can you take me? Can I come and watch a movie with you? Why not? Shouldn't that be a basic right? Malls, movie theaters, any of these places many times are not accessible. Your home, can you invite me to your home? Whether you're an apartment complex or an individual house, all we require is a ramp. Is that so difficult to construct? Your favorite restaurant, can you invite me to come and have a lunch or dinner with you? If not, can you go and get a bunch of people to sign a petition to ask the school to have a 2%? You're talking about government quotas. If 2% of your school accepts students with disabilities, will you as a parent be happy? Many times not. Many times they don't want to their child to study with the defectives, right? So all these things, if we can change the way we think about ourselves, if we can, each of these things in school, in our favorite areas, why don't we see people with disabilities there? Because they're not there? No, we know from the census that one out of 4 people have some kind of disability, but we are not there because we are being erased. It's a systemic epistemic erasure is what it's called. So if these things can change, individuals can do a lot of things. You can petition in your child's school, you can petition in your favorite theater to say that why can't 2 wheelchair, see, they are selling tickets at 100% profit. They can't have 2 spaces for wheelchair user. Why not? So you can be the change. Each of us can be the change we wish to see. We don't have to depend on the government at all.
Thanks, Preethi. Thanks a lot for that. Yeah, that's a new thought to the brain. Food for the brain. Yeah, but another query that comes is like the corporate, because I'm coming from the corporate. Like I have worked with JP Morgan for quite like 7 years, and before that I was with Bank of New York. So, like we usually have LGBT community in our offices and these kind of communities. But yeah, I have seen few of them, like especially abled people as well. So I'm not sure how much exposure you have for these corporates, because at the end of the day, like DEI is their goal and they have to get a certain percentage. And if I talk about the leaders from different nations, they have their own children. Like recently, one of the speaker mentioned, they have their own children disabled in one or another way. So they definitely want their children to be the part of their corporate. So accordingly, like when you get into that soft part of that soft layer of that thing, so definitely you can have that kind of petition for them, for the corporates. If not you have still like done to that. But I see when I was with JP Morgan, there was a lot of DEI initiatives and people were actually working. So are you the part of it?
Invite me. I mean, as a PhD now, I have the academic qualification as well. And as a person with disability, I have both from academia as well as from a experiential perspective. I can share my stories and I can make a difference. So they have started already calling me to spaces as a DEI expert. And last time we had gone to Nissan, what's that? Renault Nissan, and there are a lot of companies like that that have started. But that is another thing. If you invite me, Soulfree comes along, right? So one of the big ways to spread the word about Soulfree is if you invite me to speak in any way, and in every way, I think I can, positively impact an audience on whatever subject. So that could be a great place to start. So we want to be, our voices need to be heard. And if mine could be one of those voices, I'm happy to be there. I will show up and I'm not afraid of anyone. So I'll speak my mind.
Thanks, Preethi. It's a lot of motivation capsuled in just 1 hour. But then definitely, the last thing I wanted is if you can have your Instagram page link or the website link being circulated so that we can circulate it further.
Yeah. Soulfree.org is the website. It might show up a bit in a week or so. I think it's still under construction. I mean, not construction, it's getting revamped. But anytime it should be live now. Soulfree.org and Soulfree Trust, single word, SOULFRE Trust, in Facebook and Instagram. I'm not very social media savvy, but we are there on all that. And in YouTube, we have a channel called Soulfree Inspire TV, where we go and showcase all our success stories. People who have come in, completely bedridden for years with bed sores, with worms in their wounds, getting up and walking with calipers and getting the skills they need to become financially also self-sustaining. Those are our success stories, real transformative stories. So I don't feel soul free is mine at all. I am soul free. I'm a slave, a servant of soul free, and soul free gives me a greater purpose in a way that I could never have, even imagined if I was doing it for myself. So please, wherever you are able to, please bring in the word about soul free and share awareness. If everyone in the world knows an organization like Soulfree exists, I'll be happy. What they choose to do or not do after that is up to them. But I know that if they come to our center once, their whole perspective of life will change.
Much
Absolutely.
thanks.
Absolutely. Great. I am conscious of the time, so it is 6:01, but happy to take one question before we, wrap. Anyone on the edge with a question?
I just want to say one last thing, and that is that I think that the next step, the way I envision it, is really for Soulfree to break. I know you said you need hands-on in India to keep this going, but I think to break out of India and see, and I think it's such an amazing setup, and I've never, and I come from a country where there are laws about, accessibility, and DEI is on the top of the agenda. Nurit can say, maybe Nurit disagrees with me, but I think that it's the top of the agenda and is one of the top things on the agenda in Israel. And still there's so much to do. And I've never heard of a setup like Soulfree that is all inclusive, that takes your whole lifespan into consideration, that ensures everything from physical to spiritual to work, to the financial side of living, which is really important until the end. And I think and the sense of purpose that all of this creates that everybody else takes for granted, right? That everybody else just wakes up in the morning and deals with. So yeah, I think breaking out of India to other places with this, I think is should be one of the dreams. I know you want a clean slate, but we should put it on there.
Thank you, Abigail. Saravanan, any closing remarks?
Yes, sir. Very inspiring story. Thanks, Preethi. Yeah, you're not alone. We are here to support you. We are very similar organizations, and we also say that accessibility is there in all our hospitals, and many people are coming and visiting us. And I just want to share a few things. So when we say accessibility is there, last week we had a program in that, like people like you, one of the activists came there, and he was asking. In the end of his session, he gave 15 wheelchair and selected randomly people and asked us to sit on the wheelchair and go and collect some flag from other place. So we all went and we were not able to come back. So in one particular place, there was a 4-inch steep ramp was there, which made very difficult for us to come. Then he told that even the small things makes difference. So immediately we resolved that and we were able to set it right. So the existing infrastructure we are finding little difficult, but in all our new hospitals, we ensure that it is very friendly and all people come. So around 10 to 15% of patients is coming in the wheelchair. And in our software application also, we tag that as a special thing so that we give priority to them. And also the doctors are keep ready, the doors, couple of the double doors are opened and some portable devices are kept ready for treating the patients. So wherever possible, we give more priority to the peoples and make it kind of an accessible thing. Thanks, Preethi. Thanks for your wonderful service.
Fantastic. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Saravanan. And maybe, maybe some, trip can happen. So that will be lovely.